Is it ever okay to trick yourself psychologically when you are trying to make a change that maybe you have a block around? Well, let me give you some examples of cases when it really might make sense to do just that. Hey everyone, I'm Sonia. Welcome to my channel where I give you tips and insights to have the best life and most fulfilling relationships. And if you'd like to get on my occasional newsletter, you can see information about that below. And I'm also open to one-on-one coaching if you just want a little more help with any of these ideas or concepts or strategies. So today I want to talk about tricking yourself. And what do I mean by that? I mean when we have an idea of something we'd like to change, or maybe it's something we want to communicate. And I'm going to go into 3 examples to show you how this might look so we can make it really concrete here. But when you want to change something, and for whatever reason you have difficulty with it, or it just feels very challenging to yourself, like, is there a way that you can use sort of a way of thinking about it or approaching it that's not really your full intention, maybe your deepest truth about why you're doing what you want to do, but that can help you do it? So let me give you the examples, because I think it sort of gets too conceptual otherwise only. So first example, let's say you want to bring up an issue, a topic for change in your relationship. Let's say your relationship with a partner. But let's say that it feels extra challenging to you because, you're worried that it won't go well. And this worry, let's say, is part of your psychology, whether it's because you are more of a people pleaser, or because, let's say, maybe you're anxious preoccupied in your attachment style and you have these core wounds around abandonment. And so that, can get triggered when you're worrying about bringing something up. So the deepest truth there, right, is that you know something needs to change and that's very important to you. But often doing something like really feeling into how important the change will be for the relationship can be the most important way to go. So rather than focusing on your deepest truth about it, which is, the change that you also feel like is important for yourself and that you've come to the insight around, in order to not sort of have to clash with your own, wanting to not rock the boat for all those various reasons that might be psychologically true for you, what you can do instead is focus on it being important for the relationship. So that's not going to fully get past that it might be difficult and fully get past the fear. But what could help you get through the actual conversation is focusing on the piece of what needs to happen that is around making the relationship better, that is around, that if you don't address it, that you can think about how that's not good for the relationship. Maybe it would gradually cause resentment over time, for example. So in this example, as you can see, it's not tricking yourself with something false. It's not that what you're focusing on is false, but you're sort of tricking yourself by taking the focus off of what feels harder to do, even if it's very important to you or, very aligned with your own values, and putting it onto something where the focus feels easier for you to then get the thing accomplished, the thing communicated in this case. So that's the first example. Another example of how you can sort of trick yourself psychologically in order to make a change that you want to make is sort of a similar area. So let's say you're a people pleaser again, and you need to do something that's assertive. So maybe you need to ask for a change at work. Perhaps you came to this, and it's been a really important revelation and you feel like, wow, I'm going to really self-advocate for myself this time. Maybe you're trying to even change your people pleasing overall. So you might have that deeper level of what's going on and the change you want to make in your life and how you want to be and that you want to self-advocate. But it could feel more difficult to go straight at it in that way. And if it's feeling challenging to you that way, there's no problem at all with tricking yourself. Again, not with something false, but by going at it in the way that feels closer to why you're doing the people pleasing in the first place, that are the good aspects, right? Because not all aspects of being a people pleaser are bad. Some of them are that someone really likes to be very communal and really likes to, help other people. There can be those good aspects mixed in there, even if it goes too far a lot of the time, or it needs to change in the way it manifests in your life. And so you can lean on those pieces of it. So lean on the pieces where it's about how it's going to help other people in the company too. It's, maybe it's going to just make a change. Maybe it's a change for you, but you can say that it will help you work more efficiently. So that's good for the company too. So there's no problem at all with leaning on the aspects of your people pleasing that you're trying to change that are positive, and just pulling those out that are easier for you to do, the ones that are more about helping others and how it can be good for everyone, those kind of pieces. You can absolutely do that. And the reason it's not self-abandoning, that self-advocacy, is because you can still know deep down, and maybe even afterwards you can really focus on how you did it and how this is the big changes you're making. You can focus on that and the fact that it still was doing the self-advocacy, right? It's just more in order to do the process, you're trying to make it as easy on yourself as possible. So you're not just going straight at the change in this way that's extra difficult for you. Okay, so one more example, and this third example comes directly from Thais Gibson at the Personal Development School, who is who I trained with in Integrated Attachment Theory. And she talks about if there's something that you want to do, and it's something that maybe you don't want to do, for example, like it's something either challenging for you, or it's just simply that you are interested in it, so it's hard to get yourself to do. Just try to link it. Let's say it's a new habit you're going to try to do, like a new healthier habit. But it really could be anything. This is such a broad category. That she says to try to link it to a different need you have. So, sometimes people think of like a reward, and sometimes the way a reward works is actually they're the most effective, right? If we're linking them to something that actually is important to us or is extra special to us. But what's nice about this way of thinking about it is you're definitely linking the meaning piece in there too. So it's not going to feel like just a random reward. So for example, if it's going to be about eating healthier, and that's very difficult for you to do, and you don't feel like you care about it, you're supposed to. Let's say the doctor said you need to do that. What you can do is try to link that to something that does feel better to you. So for example, maybe you are someone who cares very much about some other physical aspect. So maybe you care very much about for example, just feeling how you feel physically, like you're someone who likes to, do meditation or yoga. And so you can focus on really feeling into your body and saying, oh, but I love how this makes me feel. So you're focusing less on the health side that the doctor told you about, and more on the piece of it that's something that feels already like it matters to you, right? Or maybe it looks like something completely different. Maybe it's that you start to eat healthier and you pull in some other aspect, maybe a social aspect, like that you really love supporting your community, and you start to go to the local organic farm, right? And so you're actually getting the food that you're going to eat, but you're linking it into a different value or a different interest that you have. So as you can see, this can look so many different ways. But what it fundamentally comes down to, and why I say tricking, is because, there's this insight or this deep change that you want to make, or that, progress that you want to have. And you are aware of what that is. But instead of, like I said, going straight for that, if it's easier, or if there's a challenge to that and you want things to be easier, you can instead pick a piece that relates to it in some way. And instead focus on that in order to make that change happen. So I'd be curious to hear if any of you have ever had experiences with that, where maybe you didn't think of it as tricking yourself at the time, or maybe you did, but where you actually did get yourself motivated to, communicate something or to make a particular change. And it's because you sort of put the focus in a slightly different way than that original insight that maybe is the deepest truth about it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this content, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe so we can get it out there for other people who may be interested as well. And let me know too if you have any ideas for future content. I'd love to hear it in the comments below.